2 days ago, my wife got a phone call. It was her son, and he says, "Mom, I've got a problem. I was wondering if you could help me out." I was listening there, and I knew, uh-oh, something's not good here. Anyway, so he proceeded to, I could gather the pieces of it, that his daughter, now you start out, her son was divorced. They live in two separate towns, but in the same area. So it was easy, they could see each other. But anyway, he says, "Mom," called her by name, and I'm not going to use names, because this could be any of us. This could happen to any single one of us. None of us are immune to what I'm going to be talking about here. Says, so-and-so, she's in another town, about 8 hours drive from here. She left here a few weeks ago, and we got word that, and he thought she had her baby crib and her bed and her dresser and her clothes and all this kind of stuff. And she had hightailed it out of town with this boy. The reason I say boy is because the kid was 18 years old. But she wasn't a lot different. She was 19. And she had a baby, or has had a baby. Baby was 7 months old, I think, but it was not this boy's baby, so I don't know what situation it was here, but anyway, so he says, my wife and I cannot get away. They're managers of a apartment complex, and he says, we got this summer barbecue thing that we've been planning, and everybody's going to be there, and we just can't drop it because there's too many people involved here. Could you and Steve come and get my truck and drive over there and get her stuff and pick her up and bring her back? That's what you always want to hear. Yep. Of course, we thought of it, and it didn't take very long to say yes, because there was a granddaughter and had a problem. She thought she was older than she actually is, and the baby explained it. You don't have to really be smart sometimes to have a baby. And that's kind of the way it was in this case. You don't really have to be really intelligent to have kids. Your body just kind of starts doing those things on you about that age, even a few years younger. So anyway, we packed up what we needed for a couple of days, and we figured it'd be overnight at least. 8 hours one way and 8 hours back. So then we loaded up our puppy dogs and off we went. Well, we had a chance to talk for 8 hours, my wife and I, and it was enjoyable. We had fun with the puppy dogs. They sat in their seats, and we had 2 seats in the pickup truck, so there was room, back doors. And anyway, as we drove along, I asked her, I says, what is this? Why are these kids these days getting into this situation? My wife says, immaturity. Immaturity. Made me think. Made me think back at when I was about that old. Yeah, we are. We all grow up. We all learn. We learn from mistakes. Some make mistakes a lot worse than other mistakes. Having a baby at 19 is not married, no real job, just barely struggled through high school and finally graduated and living with mom and dating some not so wonderful kids, looking for the great father while you walk along with your baby. It's going to be tough to find a good father, real tough. People don't want to take on the responsibility of somebody else. Anyways, we drove on. I was thinking of these things, and we got there 8 hours later. Found out there wasn't a dresser. We found out there wasn't a crib. But we had a half a pickup load full of clothes. And she had them all nice and folded. But she was not there. We went to the home that she was supposed to be at, and we were not so welcomed. But we found out something that was very interesting. The mom of this young boy, she wanted her to come and stay with him. So, granddaughter, she says, okay, that sounds good. Here's a way to get away from mom, because her and her mom doesn't get along very good. In fact, they don't get along good at all. But she has to have some place to live. She's got a baby. She's kind of got a job, but not much of it. It's not going to support anybody. And so anyway, we says, well, this is when we found out there was not all this furniture. And they brought out piles and piles and boxes of clothing and baby stuff and baby food and everything. And then we quizzed them a little bit and found out that this girl, granddaughter, and this boy, 18-year-old boy, 19-year-old girl, were living in the garage. Now, this is a hot climate we went to. It wasn't like where we live. Ours pretty mild. But anyway, they were living in the garage. No finished walls. No air conditioning. Doors shut. And it was hot. And there was a bed out there. And this is where she had spent some 3 weeks living in this hot garage day and night. Her and her baby. Not a good situation here. So we loaded everything up and went another hour drive to her uncle's house, I guess it'd say. Yeah, her uncle's house that had went and picked her up in the middle of the night. About the same time as we got the phone call. And he had her at his house, which he lived in a small house. And really no place for her either there. And the kid had a job, his wife had a job, and they'd had a newborn baby, and they were older. And it wasn't a place that she couldn't have stayed there. So anyway, we got everything decided. It was too late to pull out that evening, and for me, I would have done it. But my wife says, nah, the baby it wouldn't be good for the baby to travel. It's got a croup. You look at it, it's already coughing, carrying on. I said, okay, because for me, I would have drove it. I would have turned around immediately and headed home. But anyway, I was the good guy, and we stayed overnight. You know what it's like when you're unexpected. Well, they knew we was coming, but, you know, they just didn't have any extra beds or nothing. And we're grateful for them putting us up. giving us a bed to stay there. We got to see the kids for a while, but early the next morning, we had a knock on our door, bedroom door. It was a granddaughter. I think it was 5 o'clock in the morning. She was ready to go. She was ready, clothed, baby ready. So we got up and put on some clothes and off we went. 8 hours back. So I thought of this immaturity. Immaturity. But this was a good time for my wife to sit and talk to her, the granddaughter. She talked to her about things. What do you plan in your life? You're going to get a job? I do. I want to. I need to. How are you going to work with your mother? Not so good. Well, what's your thoughts? No, I really don't want to go live with Mom. Well, why don't you want to live with Mom? Well, because Mom's always got her hand out. Every time I make a paycheck, and she was on assistance also, but she had a small job. She got $160 a week, I think it was. She says, every time I get a paycheck, Mom's hand's open when I walk through the door and says, give me the money. So my wife had a discussion with her. You can't do that. You're an adult. You live there. You pay rent. How much rent? They discussed rent. You've got a baby. You've got a baby to take care of. Yeah, but Mom doesn't look at it that way because we're living there. So anyway, over the next many hours, as you're going to see in this video, we shot a bunch of videos. We was driving along. As you're watching this, you're going to see us traveling along and passing cars. And we did a lot of thinking, a lot of talking to this young lady. It made me think of life. We all go through it, every one of us. Some of us go through it worse than others. I'm grateful that I can't say I really went through most of this. I can't say I really went through any of this. I been laying in bed last night. I thought of my life. I thought of when I was 14, 12, 10, 15, 16, 19, 20, get married at 21. My goal, you won't get married until you can sign your own name legally. 21 was the legal age to sign for yourself. And that was my goal. And I didn't get married till I was 21. And I looked back at my life and I thought, you know, Steve, that's what I call myself, Steve. I've learned a lot in life. I learned a side of the way I grew up, totally different probably than the way the world grew up. And I'm not going to say everything was perfect because there was things I didn't learn that the people of the world learns. I remember the first trip I had to New York City. My wife was driving across the Cross Bronx Freeway. We'd been down into Hunts Point Produce Market, driving a truck at the time. She looked up and she says, why are there bars 6 stories high on these apartment buildings? I guess they can't climb to the 7th floor. 6th floor is as high as they can climb up the walls. I don't know. It made sense to me. But I started seeing another life. A life of kids with their pants down around their butts. Just disgusts me. I don't know where they think they come from. Are their hats on sideways? I'm telling you, I'd look like a total dork to wear my hat on sideways. Prefer to wear it the way it was designed to fit. I'm going to get in I'm going to do it some more. I see my time's running out. I try to shorten this where I'm already 5, 10, 15, 18 minutes. You know, saying I'm going to get into more of this. There's more that we talked about. Immaturity. Immaturity, yeah, it's not in a 14-year-old or a 19-year-old. You know, there's immaturity in 40-year-olds. There's some people that just never seem to grow up. You know who I'm talking about. They're everywhere around you. You pass them on the streets. They drive by you. Today they try to shoot you. They try to run over you. You know, different world we live in today. But really, is it that different? Really? Maybe it's because we got more of these. You know, these cell phones. Granddaughter, she never slept all the time. She was just doing this. We quizzed her, who's paying for your phone bill? And she had a good logical answer to it. But what life has handed out to us people, what do we do with it? How have we learned? Or have we learned anything? Are we no smarter than the Aborigines or whatever they were, you know, back the caveman, you know, stomping with their rocks for a hammer? I don't know. You know, it's right here. It's what we put in right there. If you don't put it in, you don't take it out. And some people just don't know how to put it in. Or they put in the wrong material. Anyway, immaturity, growing up, life, sexual life, babies before even, I guess it's a toy, not a living thing. But you know, there's adults that don't even, adults. Immaturity, adults. You know, this baby thing, it's not a baby. It's an inconvenience to me. It's not a baby. What is it if it's not a baby? Okay? It moves. What is it? We have slugs in our gardens. Are they not a slug? They wiggle around, eat all my vegetables. Immaturity. I wonder if slugs are immature. I have to think about that. Humans after a slug, you know, they don't think slugs don't have to think much. All they have to do is they crawl out of their holes at night and eat all your vegetables and crawl back in their holes at night. Just a total nuisance. Slugs. Yeah. I'm going to put some of you might not know what a slug is. I'll have to admit, when I was growing up, I didn't know what a slug was. We lived in a dry climate. We didn't have slugs. I live here in the Pacific Northwest, and we got plenty of them. If somebody wants some slugs, I got some share. Anyway, life and slugs. That sounds like a good title. Life and slugs. That's what I'm going to name this. Life and slugs. Or slugs and life. Either way. That's going to be the title. Anyway, I'm still Steve Allen. This has been the Country Boy Show. I'll be back shortly with another episode about slugs and life. Or it could be life and slugs. I'll think about that for a while. Okay? Anyway, I'll see you. You have a good 4th of July. Going to go watch the fireworks tonight, my wife and I. Anyway, have a good day. And remember, the Constitution of the United States of America is here to protect us. It is not here to rule us. It is a set of guidelines for us, the people, the citizens, and those who come from outside the world, other places, to follow. Okay? Constitution of the United States. The greatest land in the world.